Hello, today we're on board Excess with the crew, and we're going to find out what makes them special on charter with these series of questions. So, if you guys can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm the captain of Excess.
Hi, I'm Elise. I'm the chef.
Great. So, how'd you guys end up getting down here in the Virgin Islands to charter?
Well, in another life, I was working and teaching in Manhattan, and wasn't making enough to make a living. And I started working on boats in the summer, and I decided that after a while that I wanted to change careers, and so I got into yachting full time. And I've been up to Alaska and down to Panama and Costa Rica and Baja California and Newport and et cetera, et cetera. And then I tried the Virgin Islands, and I love it so much that I decided to stay here.
Awesome. How about you, Elise?
I first started working in the Virgin Islands in 2017. I was hired to be medical staff on for a summer camp that taught diving and sailing on 50-foot monohulls. And through that job, I got all of my miles to do my 200-ton captain's license. And I started working as a chef in the Virgin Islands in 2019. And I have also really loved it here and decided to stay.
Awesome. Good stuff. So, I know you guys have some charters under your belt. What would you say your favorite charter memory would be?
Well, my favorite charter memory was it was a family who brought the matriarch and the patriarch of the family down sort of for what I would call an end-of-life charter. This was a gentleman who had been an avid scuba diver and snorkeler in the 60s and 70s and had really suffered some mobility issues as of late. And we were able to assist him by getting him on one of our floating dock platforms. He would put his head in the water with the snorkel gear on that he brought. And we were able to take him around different areas in the Virgin Islands, and he was able to see fish and other wildlife, turtles and things like that, and of course the various coral that grows down here. And it was a pretty magical experience for both he and his family.
I bet. How about you?
This was one of my early charters. I served sticky toffee pudding to some guests that were Canadian, but they were originally from England, and they were really excited about having sticky toffee pudding and like saying that it reminded them of their childhood and getting emotional about it. And for me, it was so fulfilling to be able to serve something that made people feel something.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. So, in the off season, when we're not in the charter season, what would you guys like to say your hobbies are?
I love to make art of like almost any type. I love painting, knitting, crocheting, sewing, and I also really love outdoor stuff. So hiking and free diving, just anything out in the sunshine.
All right. What are you doing?
So I do a lot of traveling in the off season. My favorite place that I went to was the Kingdom of Jordan, where I got to see the Pharaoh's treasury, which was, unbelievable. I do a lot of traveling. I also do a lot of writing. So I write fiction. Don't really have time to do that during the season, but in the off season, I like to make time for that. I also do a fair amount of scuba diving and sort of visiting with friends and family.
Great. So speaking of travel, what would you say your favorite vacation was and what made it special?
After high school, I did a gap year and I lived in India for about 9 months volunteering for a nonprofit school. My family actually got to come visit me, and that was really special, being able to show them around and introduce them to the people that I had spent so much time with.
Definitely.
Oh, well, the Kingdom of Jordan was great. I also loved spending a week in Yacht Excess, which is considered the Spanish Virgin Islands. I was able to get a little Airbnb, and we did a couple island tours, and it was sort of an island away from an island, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Awesome. Yeah, it's close, but so far. So your favorite anchorage or mooring location in the U.S. Virgin Islands to bring it back here, what would you say would be that?
By far, Anegada. It's a little bit out of the way. It's in the British Virgin Islands. It's about maybe a 2-hour ride north of Virgin Gorda, and we can't always get there because of wind and weather conditions, but it's a very spectacular place. It's the only island in the Virgin Islands that is not volcanic in nature, so a lot of coral and limestone. It's also the elevation is quite low. I think the highest point is right around 20 feet. But when people talk about sort of a deserted island, that is the closest thing that I've been to that achieves that. The population is I think roughly 300, and just the food it's crawling with fresh lobster. So the food is fantastic. The beaches are wonderful. I love when the opportunity presents itself to bring guests there.
Awesome. How about you, Elise? What's your favorite?
That would have to be Maho in the U.S. Virgin Islands. There are so many sea turtles there, and I love seeing them. They're so cute. I've also seen eagle rays jump out of the water in Maho, and it's just a really beautiful spot. Blue water, beautiful islands.
Yeah, they're beautiful. So on charter, do you guys have any special or unique skills or anything like to do with the guests to make you guys stand out?
I bake everything from scratch, so I don't actually buy any baked goods for the charters. I'll make everything: English muffins, bagels, bread, croissants, you name it. I also, because I did celestial navigation in my unlimited captain's license, I can point out some constellations if asked.
So cool. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, so I love sharing my experience with guests. I've been on the water for quite a long time, and I love to share my sea stories with people, especially working in Alaska. There's a lot of fascinating things, sort of wildlife related up in Alaska. Not quite as plentiful as what's down here, but just sort of interesting. And I also like to point out different fish and birds to guests. I studied a little bit of ornithology. I really love birds. We have some magnificent species down here. So yeah, I like to share my experience with people and really sort of get them excited about everything that the Virgin Islands has to offer.
Very cool. So you like seeing the flamingos in Anegada then?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Very awesome.
They're so pink.
Yeah, they're cool. So Elise, now let's talk about some food. What would you say your favorite dish is to make? What makes it special? What influences your cooking style?
So one of my favorite dishes to make is a porcini port wine risotto. It's my dad's recipe, and we've cooked it together many times as I was growing up. And I serve that with a local butterflied lobster tail and a homemade compound butter that's herbed and charred lemons. And every time I've served it, it's been a guest favorite. So I do like cooking that one.
Always a hit. Awesome. Well, that's all we have today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to experience anything we talked about in this video, come on down to Excess, and they'll definitely show you a nice charter of a lifetime here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's really nice getting a chance to talk to you, and we hope to see you on board.